army, and you can't harm me. Yeah, hoodoo, bitch.
Dying Light the Beast is the new zombie dismemberment simulator on the market. An old face has his Logan-like return, and I was provided a code by Techland after launch to review the game. I want to be upfront about that, and I want to be as fair as I can be. I am extremely biased when it comes to Dying Light, and I mean, I am placing this as an entry into a series on Dead Island and Dying Light, for crying out loud. So take everything I say with a grain of salt, because I am extremely biased when it comes to zombies, Dying Light, the Dead Island series, and Techland. With that out of the way, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this beast.
I've survived 13 years of this torture. But I can't take any more. My name is Kyle Crane. And finally, I'm out. They don't even know what they've unleashed. Now, I will tear them apart. One by one.
Dying Light the Beast is more of the same. And that's not a bad thing, though. When you get a spin-off in this case that could easily have been titled Dying Light 3, you should expect just that, honestly. Why change what already works so well? The same was said with the release of Dying Light 2, except a lot of people felt it had changed too much and lost its identity. They changed a lot, it all felt more floaty and magnetic in a way. The weight was gone. Aiden was more than human and felt much more nimble in comparison to Kyle. But you could feel he had a lot more parkour experience. And Dying Light 2 had a lot of development troubles, but I think they mostly fixed it all in the end. Dying Light the Beast is a return to form in a lot of ways, for both the Dying Light series and for Techland. It has a very slow intro that is initially very interesting and cool until you take full control. You're in this oddly animated crawling position that improves as you get closer to fully standing up, but the animation for it is not very good, and the entire lab environment as a whole just reminds me of the labs in Dead Island, but not in a good way. It's so shiny and sleek looking, and it really shows they still use an updated version of the Chrome engine, which they now title the C engine. It does get better as we fight our way through waves of zombies and get introduced to the Beast mode, this game's version of Dead Island's Fury mode, but cooler. Once we climb up and reach the surface, we get a cool Fallout 3 vault door opening into the wasteland-like moment. This is when the game shows off its impressive visuals and environmental detail. The lush greens and the open skybox, the wind rustling in the trees as the zombies stumble around a campfire atop a mountain. We're in the Alps now, and man is it jaw-dropping. One of the best locations in any Dead Island or Dying Light game, and one of the most beautiful settings in any game I've ever played. And it's all elevated by Olivier's magnificent score, once again reprising his role as composer after Dying Light 2, and he is a true master of organic music.
Hello, this is Olivier de Rivière. Welcome to this video about the music design of Dying Light the Beast. For Dying Light the Beast, what we tried to do was to create something that was more about the mood than anything else, and build up upon the idea of a big progression for the main character, Kyle Crane. What you do in the Beast is wandering in the world and do some activities such as fighting, of course, but also you need to do some safe zones. You can do some dark zones. You have the quest, of course. And what players may not get at the beginning is like every time you succeed into one activity, either a long fight, it means more than 30 seconds. What you have is a sort of a stinger jingle that tells you that you've done something. This music that is about, sometimes 15, 20 seconds is linked to when you get inside the car, and when you get to drive the car, the mood of those reward music is actually developed as you're driving. So let's just say that we have different moods, and those moods change as you go through the main quest.
The Beast brings us back to basics and elevates the series at the same time. In terms of gameplay and combat, it's a perfect melding of Dying Light and Dying Light 2. If you never played Dying Light 2, it might take you a bit to get used to the intricacies of the parkour system. It has more weight than 2, but not quite as much as 1. That's because Kyle is not only enhanced this go around, but he's a lot more experienced at parkour. The combat is the most brutal they've ever had in the series by far. The way enemies split in half or have their face smashed in. Honestly, Techland is giving Dam Buster and Dead Island 2 a run for their money. It's not quite as detailed and reactive as Dead Island 2, but it's pretty damn close. They went out of their way to make some of the most realistic blood splatter I've seen in a video game, and it is gross.
What we are doing today is basically having fun, spilling blood all over the place. But more seriously, we're using photography and photogrammetry techniques, creating some materials for the art team.
So for Dying Light the Beast, we wanted to revisit the blood decals that we are using. They were great, but not the exact thing that we wanted. So we tried to find textures and materials online to get them from some stores, but nothing that we could find was providing us with the reality and storytelling that we were searching for. So we thought that maybe we should buy a lot of fake blood and try to create in real life the situations that we wanted. We hired a really good actor that was running into blood, being dragged in the blood, tripping, slipping, falling.
The gore isn't the only thing about this game that reminds me of Dead Island. The use of vehicles in a smaller but still good-sized map, and the vehicle being exclusively a pickup truck, the way the truck feels like you're turning an entire aircraft carrier versus a real vehicle is on point. The use of third-person cutscenes and the Beast ability itself are cool throwbacks to Techland of old. What Dying Light the Beast really succeeds at is crafting an atmosphere and world filled to the brim with cool details and a dedication to horror and making you feel like a monster among men. You have a werewolf-like uncontrollable rage that you learn to control. You even get an edgy late 90s, early 2000s hoodie with a wolf-like figure on the back. The entire game has really detailed environments and locations that look like they were once lived in. The rooftops and streets of Old Town are a perfectly crafted parkour playground, one of the best in the series. The rest of the game is a bit more open, akin to the following, but there's still a lot of parkour even in the more nature-rich locations, and plenty of shacks or even the smaller villa or farm locations. The Chimera boss fights you take on to upgrade yourself is the most video game-like stuff that's ever been in this series. They are very cool and very challenging, especially when you're playing on hard like I did. But we're all here to know about the nightlife, right? It's as tense and terrifying as ever. You don't want to be out after dark, but the night is a bit shorter than the original and offers double XP and a really invigorating horror experience like no other. Cleverly eluding and barely escaping by the skin of your teeth in a volatile chase, or carefully climbing a building to reconnect power to a safe zone along the highway. There's much more variety when securing safe zones, and they always have good loot. Speaking of loot, the dead zone-like locations from both Dead Island and Dying Light make a return. This time they are smaller and sometimes more vertical. They're not as massive as the quarantine zones in Dying Light 1, but instead smaller versions of research facility dead zones of Dying Light 2. Except this time around they have more guaranteed loot and take less time to accomplish. You also don't have to worry about volatiles being inside them, since the Beast goes back to the lore of volatiles living in caves. You still have to keep gas in your vehicle, but it's harder to find. Guns feel and look much better. They're overpowered and the ammo is scarce. You can only craft weapons and certain upgrades at a workbench. Other things like healing items and throwables, etc. are craftable on the fly. The animations on random healing items like food and drinks are great. You can always raid a military convoy if you're low on supplies. The in-game economy sucks, and it's pointless to buy weapons, as you're rarely going to have enough funds, so always buy ammo, bandages, food, drinks, and crafting ingredients instead. They'll go a long way. The humans are even more dangerous than the zombies. They can overwhelm you pretty quick, and you really have to use your dodge and block abilities. They often pretend to be survivors in need of help so they can ambush you, Book of Eli style. There's also the much more intelligent and tactical mercenaries that work for the Baron. And zombies themselves are tough, but dumb obstacles that stand in your way. They offer up easy pickings one at a time, but can quickly overwhelm in large groups. Characters, narrative, and combat behind the beast and its brutal zombie apocalypse is why we're all here at the end of the day. The Baron is this stereotypical Far Cry villain until he becomes the Albert Wesker-like nemesis to the player. He has the upper hand up until the very end. Every time you think you've won, you haven't. The Baron surprised the hell out of me, so did the overall attention to detail in the game. The way previous locations or interactions had effect in hub locations or added to the world itself. You can find survivors you helped or others who didn't want your help after the fact. The aforementioned gore and blood splatter highlight the dark and brooding world with red. Everything about the beast pleasantly surprised me as a fan of both of the previous titles. The return of Kyle and the focus on bosses, the medium-sized open world and just how dense and jam-packed it is. They hide legendary weapons behind unmarked areas where you solve environmental puzzles to access them. The side quests are pivotal to the overall narrative in my opinion, and the feeling of remembering what it means to be human, and to not take life for granted, seize the day and make it happen, take chances and fight for what you believe in. The Beast is a story of humanity through very real feeling characters and writing. It's nothing spectacular. It's average, because that makes it all feel real. It's not overly written or even underwritten, it's just right. A few final boss bugs aside, I rolled credits and I'm very excited to see where Techland takes the series from here. They have big shoes to fill after this entry. The Beast feels just right in every way, and it really brought together all the best elements of each game. It brought the highlights and it brought the spectacle.
Everything.
The entire adventure to the very end is scored masterfully, and it makes every moment, every quest, every discovery, and every revelation that much more epic. The score beautifully pushes the horror and nighttime terrors to the limit. Every scene is beautifully crafted and perfectly scored. The music, the combat, and the discovery of the world left behind and all those who resided there makes this game one of my favorite games of all time, and potentially my new favorite zombie game.
We'd spend hours just looking up at the stars.
Well, here's to brotherly love. And to your health.
Unwinding. Shooting the breeze. Taking in the view. Moments like these are what make us human. Easy to forget that, huh?
Too easy.
Kyle, there's not much I have to offer, but treat this moment as a gift. From me to you.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. Liam, your condition, how bad is it?
It's bad.
What about that medicine? Should we look for it? Will it help?
No.
I hope you all go out and play the Beast. I want to thank Techland once again for the code. I don't think they could possibly understand what this all means to me. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Please leave a like and hit that subscribe button if you want to see more of what I create and hear more about what I love. Thanks to Midnight Medium, Osh, Melancholy Geek, and John David as always for the love and support. The Forge is calling, and I must answer, so I'll see you all when the next video has been forged. As we fade to black, remember, even in an apocalypse, beauty still exists. Good night, and good luck.
Henry, you were a lucky man to have Iris.